Hi and welcome. My name is Lisa Cooper. I'm a registered dietitian here at the Orlando Health Center for Health Improvement. And today we're going to make a recipe called Roma tomato pasta. And I specifically picked this recipe because it has all the ingredients that are part of a Mediterranean diet. And Mediterranean diet is so great for heart health, and they're finding it is also helpful for cancer prevention and improving blood pressure. So I really wanted to pick a recipe that is fresh and has great ingredients to it, and it's simple. The Roma pasta is part of the Mediterranean diet because it contains fresh fruits and vegetables. The Mediterranean diet also is high in beans and nuts and seeds and whole grains and a little bit of fish and chicken. So you could always add a little bit to this recipe as you go. I have definitely built on it over the years. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the screen so you can see what I'm doing here in the kitchen. The recipe starts with Roma tomatoes. And so I have a couple here just to show demonstration and cutting. And when you're slicing tomatoes, it's easier if you have flat surfaces. So if you cut it along the sides and not try to slice on the shiny ends, because if you're slicing the shiny parts, your knife tends to slip. So if you can cut off those ends and do the center. And I picked Romas because I have less seeds usually. This one's a little more juicy, but they're a little more meaty than the regular tomatoes. So you can do it that way, or if you really don't want to waste the outer part of the tomato, you can just slice it and just make sure you're slicing from the inside. So voila, like this, and cut the tomato this way. So once that is done, we're gonna put it into our container. And I'm actually over here heating up a pan so we can do some cooking. So I'm using just a regular fry pan and using extra virgin olive oil. And extra virgin olive oil is a big part of the Mediterranean diet. And I'm gonna adjust my screen here for a second. And extra virgin means that it's not created through chemicals or mechanically separated to get the oils out of it. So it really retains the polyphenols and the antioxidant properties. So I'm going to put a generous amount in there. So that's our first step. While that oil heats up, I'm going to talk a little bit about these other ingredients. So I'm adding also garlic, and a generous amount of garlic. I love garlic, so I'm adding like 3 cloves in there. I'm going to get a second heat there. Garlic, you want to chop it up and let it rest for a little bit because the chopping actually activates those heart-healthy compounds that are in garlic. So the heating can actually slow it down. So let it rest for a minute after you chop it, and then add it in. And garlic is high in antioxidants and polyphenols, which is great for heart health. So I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic in and let that saute for a minute. And garlic and olive oil top things in the Mediterranean diet. The next thing I'm going to add are onions. And onions are high in what they call quercetin. But people don't know, onions actually have, or don't think about it, they have vitamin C, they have B vitamins like B6 and folate, but the quercetin is an anti-inflammatory property, has anti-inflammatory properties, and it's an antioxidant. So I'm browning up the onions and the garlic together, and it smells so good. This combination, the onions and garlic, it brings people running to the kitchen. So you saute those up for a second. And then once the onions start to get a little soft, you can add in your Roma tomatoes. So the combination of tomatoes, onions, and garlic are big in the Mediterranean diet. And they recommend that you eat those 3 times a week. And I believe it's due to all the beneficial compounds, the 3 of them put together. So in tomatoes, a big one is lycopene, and lycopene is actually helpful in cancer prevention. And different from garlic, lycopene is activated when you cook it, so that it's absorbed better by the body. So you simply toss all these together. Now, you saute it for a while, and I love to add different things. So I've added things like zucchini to it. And for this particular recipe today, as it cooks, I'm going to add in some basil and basil and some olives to it too. So, and with basil, you want to cut it like a ribbon. So you put it together like this, and you want to wait to the end to add your basil so that it doesn't get overcooked and it still has a fresh flavor to it. And the thing about herbs and spices, so as you can see, I'm just doing little tiny ribbons after I rolled it. Fresh herbs really make flavors pop, and it's a great way to get away from using a lot of salt in your recipes. So once the tomatoes are done cooking, I'm going to throw in the basil at the end. I'm going to top it with basil. Okay. And that's all there is to it. Your pasta is ready in minutes. The big part of time is really just cutting up the fruits and vegetables. Now, I used a whole wheat pasta, so I topped my whole wheat pasta with my tomato sauce. I'm going to throw a few olives in there, and these can be added in cooking. I just didn't do it on this one. And I like a little bit of feta cheese on top. Feta makes the flavor pop a little bit, adds a little bit of a salty flavor to it, but that's really up to you if you'd like to add that feta or not. Some people would prefer the Parmesan cheese. So I've used 100% whole wheat pasta, but you could use quinoa for this recipe, or any type of whole grain pasta is fantastic. So all of those things go right along with the Mediterranean diet. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoy your Roma tomato pasta.